interesting part of tail hedging is when you actually get your payoff, and what do you do shortly thereafter, right? If you have a mandate where it's you are explicitly a tail hedger for my fund, my organization, and it pays you off at a certain point, how do you decide to start getting out of that trade? And then the second part of that is, do you have the freedom, generally speaking, to just say, look, everything's expensive, take off the tail for the next 6 months, and then we can start getting back on? Or are you always mandated to continue to bleed as volatility collapses?
This is all client decisions, right? So we're not sort of going out there and just doing stuff, right? Think of back in March 2020. So it was an intelligent framework for this kind of thing. We'll have built into it in advance sets of parameters for discussion about the expectations shared between the manager and the client about what they want to do and how they want to manage a program, right? Including monetization and rebalancing. But it also generally shouldn't be a really naive one, right? So if you look back at March 2020, let's say you owned a bunch of long-dated downside options that were making a lot of money back in March 2020. One thing you could have done is go out into the market and try to sell those out and pick your points and maybe ladder down. It turned out actually you would have done much worse doing that than just aggressively rebalancing and buying delta against it, right? Because long dated vols never really went up that much. They went up a decent amount. They went up to like 30. We were moving 12% a day, right? And if you just came out and put on a big old delta buy rebalance at the bottom as your rebalance between your long equity portfolio and your tail hedge, then you in short order made 100% on that, right? And actually, so having a thoughtfully put together framework in place ex ante is really important, right? So the client knows, so you understand what the client wants to do, how they're thinking about it, but then having those conversations with the right balance of making sure the client's on board with what you're going to do and then doing that is really important, right? But in these kind of things, we're never just going out there as a manager in the way you're doing in an absolute return fund where it's where it's QVR making decisions.